Thank you, Cathaoirleach. Minister Creed, I contacted you on the 4th of May, having been contacted by a constituent who was worried sick for her elderly parents who lived near a meat processing plant, given rumours at that time of positive cases in that particular plant. Your response was a total hands-off approach. It is a matter for meat plant businesses to ensure that necessary protection protocols are in place. You stated that in your correspondence to me, and you've stated it a number of times since. We all know that COVID-19 is a public health matter. But there is also a responsibility for you in all of this, Minister, because we know that outbreaks in meat processing plants not only impact on the employee and that individual, but also their families and also entire communities. It is not good enough to leave factories to put protocols in place, hope for the best and leave it at that. And you might have faith in a lot of these meat processing plants, but I don't think that faith is shared by many more people outside of it. You also mentioned in your correspondence to me the 250 veterinary and technical staff that your department deploys in meat processing plants. And we know that their role up to now is around animal welfare, health and safety of the food, hygiene and all of that. I want to ask you, have these department employees had their responsibilities extended to supervise the health and safety of employees? And is that ongoing now, yes or no? According to the CEO of the HSA, and we learned this week in the committee, we now know that no inspections of meat processing plants took place despite complaints. Now, it seems extremely strange to me that in all this time the HSA had been inspecting premises and they had not been inspecting meat processing plants despite complaints. And I hope that you will agree that that is very concerning. I know of a factory where positive cases were identified in April. The HSE wrote to all staff at that time. Would that not have been a time for the HSA to go into that plant to check the protocols and to see what was in place for the protection of those employees? I welcome the fact that inspections have now begun, and I hope that the vast majority of them inspections carried out by the HSA are unannounced. And I hope that where protocols are seen not to be in place, that plant is revisited a few days later. And again, the majority of these inspections should be unannounced. Finally, Minister, I want to ask you if you are aware of a letter that was issued to all factory employees across the country by one meat processing plant. Part of this letter reads, "It has recently been brought to our attention by local Gardaí that a small number of employees are not adhering to social distancing outside of the workplace and have not been properly self-isolating when required to do so. We've also heard that some employees have been arranging large parties at weekends, which is not allowed and is unacceptable." That to me reads of an employer passing the buck to employees. It reads to me of an employer shifting the blame, and it is no way to treat workers, and I hope that you will see that and say the same. I think that you should acknowledge here today that there was not a plan put in place in time for meat processing plants, and that has had devastating consequences for families, for employees and for communities. I think recent weeks have shown that the disregard that factories have shown to farmers in this country for a very long time is in some cases also shown to employees, and I think when all this passes, there's a job of work to do when it comes to employees' rights in these meat processing factories. Deputy.